You've been cranking hard. Now, how do you relax? In this series of R&R, Rest and Relaxation, we discuss how do you wind it down so you can let your mind think for your next move. Okay, guys, welcome to the Red to Black podcast, hosted by Werner and Mario. Mario, what are your thoughts?
Do not drink a bottle of bourbon. Do not drink a bottle of wine. Do not drink a case of beer. That's going to set you up for failure the next day. How you relax is you relax your mind. You go to the beach and you don't take in data. So you look out at a horizon that doesn't have a lot of data coming on. You're relaxing your mind by slowing down the amount of data. So you're just watching the sunset and you're watching sailboats or fishing boats go across the horizon, and you're not taking in a lot of data. You're allowing your brain to rest. That's what you need, is deep rest. And that's not putting data in your mind. Going to a nightclub and drinking an obscene amount of adult beverages on a Friday or Saturday night is not deep rest. That is going to set you up for failure, gentlemen. Over to you, Warner.
Yeah, so here's what's going on in those 2 points in terms of the mind and the liver. When you drink a lot of alcohol, it jams up your liver, and your liver is responsible for filtering all the toxins out of your body. Now, there's a toxin that most people don't realize is that stress you create. So say you're in the Marine Corps or in a high stress environment, I don't know, high frequency trading or hedge fund or whatever it is. Anything you do, maybe it's just like me, you're working and then you have a family. You don't want to be dealing with a lot of alcohol or any alcohol because you want that liver to be processing out that stress that created toxins in your body, and anything else. Maybe you ate some poor food, or just in the environment, you're drinking poor water, you're in a poor environment. You want everything that God gave you to be operating at 100%, because that'll up your performance 100% when you come back to work. And then also what Mario was talking about, you want to find a place. The key thing here is in nature. Because if you go, I was on a Marine Corps base recently. I'll just say it's in Southern California. And I would say the maintenance of the base, as a real estate guy, has gone, I would give the maintenance of some of the facilities I saw 3 to a 5. They were not maintained that well. If you go to any like really well maintained real estate company and you look at what I saw on that base compared to that company, you'd see a huge difference. Now, why is that important? You may be like, oh, you're splitting hairs and have money. We're going through a tough time. I got it. But here's the challenge. You have a choice in your life where you're going to position yourself during your R&R, rest and relaxation. And when you put yourself in an environment where things aren't in integrity, what Mario's talking about, you don't realize it, but subliminally they start effing with your mind, because you're like, that should be in that spot. I put that there. That's what your mind's doing subliminally. I learned this in photography. If you take a picture of a piece of food and you see some photographers that are doing it at an angle, the food subliminally, you're like, that shouldn't be like that. I don't like that picture. That's like a photojournalist, dynamic wartime environment where he's shooting in this really like dynamic environment with movement. It's the same thing with R&R. The mind subliminally wants a spot where you have an open sea, or you're sitting in front of a lake, or you're sitting in a hammock, right? If you can't find like this great spot, go to a park, put a hammock, lay in the hammock, and look up at the sky. So there's ways to think about it, but what you want coming in your mind is like clear vision, quiet for your ears, nice smells. Nature gives you this great smell. The feeling of it, which nature gives you, that you want this full reset, because if you're committed to high performance, you're committed to creating financial freedom, then your rest is just as important as your work. And when you rest well, your mind like resets and basically clears out all the junk. And Mark can tell you about that more, of the sleep training he's been going through. And that helps you to think more and solve problems that your brain's trying to solve, but you've been working too much, and you hit it with alcohol, it can't solve those problems. There's multiple things we'll talk about in other podcasts, but those are the key thing. R&R, relax, nature, no alcohol if possible. Mara, your thoughts?
And with this, no matter where you're at, gentlemen, is find a path that you can grease the groove. So maybe you don't live by a beach, but you'll find in nature, like Warner was saying, nature is always in integrity. You have to admit, whether you're an atheist or you're a creationist, you have to admit, man, it's pretty well designed, or this is a pretty well put together system, or this system works really well. Nature is always in integrity. Find a nature path where you live that's about 20 minutes. There's no excuse that you can't get out between 10 and 2 every day for 20 minutes. I say 2 hours. I say an hour. Go think for an hour. Sell the best hour of your day back to yourself. But find that nature path where every day you can go out there and zero out your brain. You're just walking through nature. It's 20 minutes. And I've done it so many times, I don't have to think about which turns there are. I've greased the groove enough in my mind where I could just walk this 20 minutes and zero out my thoughts. I get back into a state of rest, a state of relaxation where I can come back and I'm more effective. This is not going to make you more effective tomorrow. 20 minutes of doing this, that's what you need, gentlemen. That's all I have, Warner. Appreciate your time.
One thing to add to that, we're not just like, some goody two shoes talking high on our horse. Mario and I live pretty rough from 20 to 30. Maybe Mario a little bit before 20 and me just a little bit. But the thing is when I was a pilot in the military, I was partying every weekend. And my performance, it took me like literally till Wednesday to come back to like a decent performance. And that's an if. Mario can talk about this too, and most Marines can talk about this.
8 hours bottle of Throttle. Don't admit your sins, Warner. 8 hours bottle of Throttle.
I followed that. But here's the thing. Even if you do 8 hours bottle of Throttle, it depends on how much you drank before, because you can still have more effects if you drink a ton and then you still have 8 hours. It doesn't matter. The key is after that 8 hours, are you ready to go?
Let me get this straight. So Friday night, you weren't completely dry until Wednesday afternoon?
No, what I said was, I'm glad you asked that. The effects.
Yeah.
If let's say you drink like Saturday night, right? Friday night hard, Saturday night hard. The way
you were well lubricated by Sunday morning.
Well
the effects weren't off you by Wednesday.
That's me. That's me. There were some guys that actually. Now I'm getting excited. There's some guys like I wasn't. I was really good at memorizing my knowledge as a pilot, but I wasn't the best at like say situational awareness. I was one of those guys that took me like you. Because I'm a dyslexic, it takes me longer to get something, but once I get it, I know it like better than anyone else. And you're the same way. And I know a lot of people that are dyslexic are that way, and they'll talk about that. So there was guys that literally could drink like madmen, go in and ace their flights, and they didn't work half as hard as I did. I was barely getting through flight school. The partying didn't help me, but I was working like 2 to 3 times more than other guys. Whereas other guys, and it really was a pet peeve for me. The reason I talk about this for young guys, whether you're going through flight school, wherever you are in your life, alcohol is extremely detrimental. And if you really want to have high performance, whether it's in your body or you're a pilot or whatever it is, alcohol is not doing you it's not doing you a good service. Even if you're drinking 1 glass a day, it's not doing you good. They talk about this. There's a guy named Dr. Daniel Amen who's got a clinic in California and all around the world. He's done like hundreds of thousands of brain scans, and he showed it. When you do a brain scan, you'll see the neuron activity. It looks like a map in the brain. And when you have alcohol drinking, there's dead pockets. That's what you know with a brain that's effed up. There's dead pockets. So those synapses aren't firing. So if those synapses aren't firing, what's that doing to the rest of your body? And what's that doing to your ability to navigate and think through issues and build this financial freedom and be a star performer? I guarantee you, if you don't drink, you'll be a star performer in everything you do. Guaranteed. If you have measurable results and you go after it. Mario, any more thoughts for you? Or are you done?
I gotta kind of come in here with a different angle. So Warner and I still share a beer or have a few beers together once we've earned it. We still have a glass of wine together. We share a bottle of wine once we've earned it. Warner and I are still very into the whiskey business and look for something in Austin, Texas here coming up, folks. It's not that we say never, ever, ever.
That's a good point.
At your daughter's wedding, at your son's wedding, never have a glass of wine. It's that don't use it as a relaxation tool. Use it when you've earned it. When you've earned it, have that cigar when you've earned it. Have that drink. Have that beer when you've hiked out of the backcountry with an elk on your back, 40 miles. Have that beer. You've earned it. It's a reward. It's good, but don't use it as a relaxation tool. Those are my final thoughts. Thanks for your time, Warner.
Yeah, and the key to that is it took me 20 years to so in my 20s to 30s, it was like drinking every weekend. Then my 30s to 40s, it was like, it was drinking maybe every other weekend. And then I finally got to the point now where it's like 2 drinks a month. That's what I stick to. 2 drinks a month, maybe an extra one every once in a while. What I found is my performance has gone through the roof. I relax a lot better. And then when I have that drink, if it interacts with me in a negative way, I can see it real quickly. I'm not like adjusted to it. And my relaxation is amazing. I'm always on point. Mara's like, how do you have all this energy? Do you drink coffee? I'm like, no, I don't drink coffee. I actually stopped drinking coffee too, which Mara is still on, which is fine. Different things work for different, and there's studies. I don't even want to get into that. I could go down 100 different roads.
We're never going to shut this podcast down. So another point, Warner, is that alcohol is a social lubricant. When you do drink those 2 a month, you're doing it with friends and family or colleagues or business partners or business people you're trying to cultivate. It's a social lubricant. If you're going to a party, you're going to a nice lodge in Jacksonville, Wyoming, it's kind of awkward to get warmed up. Sometimes you don't have energy. Sometimes you don't know what to say. Sometimes you're like a little nervous. There's guys that have way bigger britches than you do, and you're going to have to go in there and tell them a war story. A glass of wine before you go engage that gentleman actually is a social lubricant. It actually kind of loosens you up and warms you up. And you're like, okay, Warner, I'm gonna go pitch this guy our game plan here. It gives you a little bit of confidence. It's liquid. There's a sayings in French or Italian. It says the grape tells no lie. It's like you get a little honesty, you get a little courage, you get a little bit like, you know what, I'm gonna tell the truth here. I'm gonna kick this guy some knowledge, or I'm gonna go introduce myself to this gentleman here in Jackson Hole. Use it for what it's, use it very wisely and very small quantities. And it's not as horrible as Warner's making out the scene. What Warner and I did in our 20s and 30s, or for me, started about 15, 16 years old in high school. It's not advisable. It's probably put some wear and tear on my liver. So learn from my mistakes.
Yeah. And to end on this note, always follow the Tom Brady rule. Tom Brady is known for his diet and his like abstaining from alcohol. And when he does have it, or he does have like a piece of pizza, it's the best piece of pizza. So you're going to have that drink in Jackson Hole, order $100 drink. You'll look forward to it. Order like a $50 glass of wine. Order like that spectacular drink with like Sazerac and bitters and the best whiskey with a huge block of ice that the guy went up to Alaska and cut out of like the Arctic, right? And like whatever, the guy sourced the mint, he's in Wyoming in the wintertime, and he just
please shut this down. Please land this plane. Please land the plane.
But anyways, all right, guys, you got the point. Just in moderation, because we are going to build a beverage business, but it's all in moderation. Thank you guys for your time. All right. Thank you for listening to this podcast. We invite you to get to know us by clicking on our LinkedIn profiles in the description of this video. Please subscribe, hit the bell notification for future updates, and share this content with your networks. Thank you for your valuable time and insights. We greatly appreciate it.